Okay, everybody, so we talked about inline styles, embedded styles. One postscript to the last video that I wanted to talk about was when you're using the style element, you do need to go ahead and use the type attribute, and that designates the type of CSS code that you're going to be calling. So it is important to include the style tag and then the type attribute, and then of course the correct values, which is text/CSS. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to external style sheets. So external style sheets, all my code is exactly the same, except for my CSS code lives in a separate file somewhere, and then subsequently I point to that file from my HTML file to go grab those cascading style rules. So here I have a brand new Notepad document, and I'm going to just code this in my regular ASCII text editor, just like I always have with my HTML. And if you take a look at page 97, there's a pretty good example of how you can code a CSS file. So essentially, you just write your element. Okay, so I want the body of the file that I attach to these rules to have a background color, and let's just say I want it to be green. Okay, and I'm going to actually keep this simple to keep the time of these videos short for download for you guys, etc. So also remember that when you have multiple declarations that you want to attach to something, you separate those with a semicolon, and this is a good example of how some people like to code their CSS stacking, because it's much easier to read when you code your CSS in this fashion right here. So I'm going to make my background green and the color of my text red. I would never use those colors in real life scenarios because that would just be horrible contrast, but I'm just giving you an example here. So in this case, I want to go ahead and save my file as a CSS file, and so I'm going to go ahead and just call this styles.css. So very similarly to you guys when you assign your HTML extensions, in this case instead of doing HTML you're going to do a .css, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to call this styles.css file to pick up those things that we have coded in here in our CSS. So if you recall, in our previous example we did the embedded styles. So you can have all three types of styles, by the way. You can have inline, embedded, and external, and people do use all three of those all the time, and the reason is you just have to understand that cascade. So remember that the rule that is closest to the element is going to take precedence on the other ones. So in other words, inline will always take precedence over embedded, and embedded will always take precedence over external. Okay, so to link a style sheet, it's super easy. You just have to add the link element, and it once again also goes into the head tag, so you'll just go ahead and use the link element, and your href is going to be that you're going to be calling that CSS file that we did. So for me, I'm going to call my styles.css file. Now it's also important for you to designate the relationship, which is style sheet, and then of course the type of style sheet that you're going to be using is going to be text CSS. And XHTML is flexible enough to be able to read other languages and things like that, so that's kind of what this designation for type is, because it's just telling the browser to parse CSS code. And the link element is a non-container tag. It's a standalone, so you just close that with your space and then your /. So now that I have my style sheet linked, whatever properties that I had designated in my style sheet which was I just changed the background color of my existing document, then that will take hold as soon as I save and refresh my browser. And now I have successfully completed an inline style, an embedded style, and an external style. So if you guys have any questions about the different cascading styles, go ahead and address those in the instructor office.